Lots of 5 stars, lots of 4 stars. UGA, position by position. Next on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We're talking up the dogs here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We got Savannah Lee Richardson on the line from Dawn of the Dog. Savannah, how you doing today?
Good. Just enjoying the weather down here in Brunswick, Georgia. It's hot and humid. And, you got to love the beach weather.
Heading out to the beach, taking Champ with you.
I did. We went to the beach early this morning about 7, and he and I just got back about an hour ago, and he has passed out in the floor. He had too much fun this morning.
Georgia fans, if you don't know who Champ's named after, you're not a Georgia fan. If you're a college football fan and you don't know, you should know to look it up. Number 24, just look it up. There you go.
He wore 4 at Georgia.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Okay. Mm-hmm. When I think Champ Bailey, I think 24. I just assumed he was 24 at Georgia. My apologies.
You're good. You're good.
Champ Bailey, Denver Broncos.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the only Denver Bronco I'll ever like.
He's the only one. Yeah, there's a bit of a Patriots-Broncos rivalry through the years. All right, back to UGA. Let's talk running backs first. And this has been one of the premier units in college football over the last few years. Obviously, just a loaded backfield, starting with that run with, Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb, on and on. Sony Michel, we see what he's doing in the NFL and what Chubb's doing in the NFL. All right, Elijah Holyfield, it seemed like he was just kind of a flash right through we heard a lot about him. He's going to be a great back, and he certainly proved it. He had a nice 1,000-yard season. Man, he's gone. And we're back with DeAndre Swift, of course. So one of my favorites to watch. He's been dynamic. He had 1,000 yards and 6.5 yards per carry. So take us through what, again, is going to be a loaded Georgia backfield in regards to star recruiting rankings all over the place.
Well, like you said, Swift is back for his junior season after going 1,049 yards and 10 scores. And that was with a nagging groin injury all season long. So I don't really think that Georgia fans got to see his full potential last season. And I think that's something that's going to be a big focus this year, is letting him have his moment to shine. He's so good and he's so dynamic on the field. And with an offensive line as big as Georgia has, it's going to be hard not to just let him go and see how impressive he can be, especially 100% healthy. But then you also have behind him Brian Harrion, who has waited his time and done the grunt work and been the cleanup guy. He is now kind of like where Elijah Holyfield was last year, this position last year. And in my opinion, because Zamir White isn't quite cleared yet, even though he is scheduled to be cleared for fall camp, I think you're going to see a lot of Brian Harrion and DeAndre Swift, kind of sharing the loads with a little more lean, in my opinion, to Swift, because Swift is such I hate to say much better, but he is just an overall more talented back than Brian Harrion is. But I think Brian Harrion has a point to prove in his last season of eligibility, and I really hope that he has a great year and does a good job and finally gets over that hump and gets some predominant carries. But then you also have Zamir White and James Cook behind them that are just hungry and ready to get out on the field and shine. James Cook has, according to a couple guys that I know inside the program, he has put on some weight. He's gotten, he's still just as quick, and one of them actually compared him to Alvin Kamara, which I thought was really interesting. But then I kind of watched both his and Alvin's film, and I could see it, especially if Cook can get, keep that weight on and keep learning the playbook and getting on the field and not having any, costly mistakes or anything like that. And then Zamir White, I'm telling you, he is a stallion and like a barn ready to break out, break loose, and get on a football field. I've never seen somebody post so much on social media, just being like, my story's fixing to begin. I'm ready to get out there and I'm ready to go. And I am so excited to see if he can actually mentally get on that field and be able to take a hit after suffering those 2 terrible, terrible injuries. But that's going to be really interesting, because if he can come onto the field and perform like he hasn't had 2 surgeries, it's going to be game on for him and DeAndre Swift. And I think that he'd eventually move up to that second running back spot over Brian Harrion. And then you also have the 4-star running back, Kenny McIntosh, that the Georgia signed for the 2019 class, who I think it actually could be a little bit of a sleeper this season. We may not see him nearly as much, but I don't know unless that he doesn't pick up the playbook, that he'll get redshirted. I would redshirt him just to have depth there for, in case, the 2020 class doesn't go like you want it to or anything like that. But at the same time, if he can come in, learn the playbook, and compete for some time, I could definitely see him on on special teams role, because we're going to need a punt returner, kick returner, and James Cook and him could be two guys. Even though Kenny McIntosh may seem a little slow with, I believe it was like a 4.47, maybe 4.54. I don't remember exactly what his 40-yard dash was, but he's quicker and he's smart and he has great vision on the field. So I really think that he can maybe evolve into a special teams role until ready to take over, carrying the ball for Georgia.
Yeah, if Kirby Smart's going after you and you get recruited and signed by Georgia, I'm not concerned with the 40 time. I think it's a bit overrated. We see that at the NFL draft each and every year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the players that I saw a stat this year that showed the 5 most productive receivers in the NFL over the last 5 or 6 years include Julio Jones, AJ Green, Antonio Brown. Those guys ran in the 4.6 range. They were not breaking records at the NFL Combine. All right, back to the running back position. Out of Fort Lauderdale, Kenny McIntosh comes in as the 11th rated running back out of high school, according to the 247 composite. So, Savannah, I've got a number of observations with these backs, and you let me know if I'm on track. So, Zamir White, unfortunately, yes, it's going to be a huge challenge of whether he can break through the mental block that comes with suffering that injury, and you just can't play football. You can't really play any sport, but especially football, with any type of fear, with any type of hesitation. You just have to go out there and let it loose, and that has to be a severe challenge. He was the number 1 running back rated out of North Carolina coming out of his particular class. Had the ACL tear in high school. Unfortunately, he did everything he possibly could to get him set to play early in his Georgia career. Enrolls early, then he suffers another ACL. Can't play that first year. Now he's coming back from 2 ACLs. How much does he have left, even before he ever starts his career? Brian Herrien, you just have to marvel and respect and admire a guy that plugs away even when he's surrounded by more talented backs. And to his credit, even if he doesn't gain a larger role in the offense to finish up his career, he's gained almost 1,000 yards as a Georgia running back in his career. So James Cook is a guy that, if you look at just the sheer numbers last year, they're impressive in the time that he got at 6.9 yards per carry. But most of that garbage time against the lesser teams on the schedule. So they may need more if Zamir White's not ready to go, a lot more out of James Cook. So he could be the key in this whole thing. And of course, DeAndre Swift is one of the elite football, 32 catches in addition to what he did as a running back. So I make a comparison to a certain extent beyond between DeAndre Swift and Sony Michel. They seem like similar backs to me.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I don't correlate DeAndre Swift more with Nick Chubb. I agree with you with that, with being more like a Sony Michel, because he's quick. He can catch the ball really well out of the backfield. And when he hits that corner, he's gone. Now, Nick Chubb was the same way. You could toss sweep, and he'd hit that corner and be gone as well. But there's something elusive about DeAndre Swift, his ability to miss tackles as well as be able to hit that next level and force people to run him down. And it seems to take more than one guy to bring him down as well. But all this success and all this ability for these running backs has to come through the offensive line. And this offensive line just keeps getting better and better and more talented and more talented. And I think DeAndre Swift and other running backs just have those like heart emoji eyes when they see the offensive line, because that is an ideal offensive line for any running back that wants to be successful to run through. So gotta give credit to the offensive line. But yeah, Sony and DeAndre Swift were a lot more similar in my opinion, because they're both elusive. And the older Sony got, the more weight that he put on, but yet he always seemed to maintain that speed. And I think that's what we see with DeAndre Swift. I don't remember his exact height, but I think he's like 210, 215 maybe. And you can almost call him a bulldozer at that point, but he's so quick. It's hard to call him a ground and pound guy as well. So I like elusive. That's what we're going to do. Actually, I gave him this nickname. It's called, was it him? Yeah, no. It was a different running back. Just kidding. We'll get to that when we talk about recruiting. I have a good nickname for one of the new recruits that could come to Georgia.
Looking forward to that. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, breaking down UGA. The Bulldogs set to defend their SEC Eastern Division Championship. We've got Savannah Lee Richardson on the line from Dawn of the Dog. Please join her and the rest of the staff right there on Georgia football coverage. Of course, you can help us build the channel by grabbing the Amazon link in the description section below. Do your regular shopping. Doesn't cost you a penny. Just go in there and do your regular Amazon shopping using that link to help build the channel. We've got an exclusive, actually 2 exclusive live streams each and every week on Patreon. So join our Voice of College Football community there. For my response, my reaction to your comments, we've received over 36,000 year to date. That compares to 6,000 at this point last year. So thank you for your response. And now you get to hear my reaction to your response. So get ready for that, and also a live stream with you featured, bringing on the viewers, the college football community that we have over on Patreon for an exclusive live stream every week.